and it's not me. I share the square meter with Hydrilla verticillata, a species of submerged aquatic vegetation. Unfortunately, Hydrilla is not limited to this box here. It litters the shoreline here, and during the spring and summer months, occupies nearly the entire Potomac River.
There was something in the water, now that something's in me, oh I can't go back.
I'm here at Washington Sailing Marina in Alexandria, Virginia. We're on the Potomac River. This is a section off of the Little Lagoon. Just across the river, over there, is Washington, D.C. I work at this sailing marina and I instruct on sailboats. For the past few years, I've seen an interesting phenomenon happen every summer. As the water warms up and the summer progresses, the river becomes teeming with green, seaweed-like plants. Hydrilla verticillata, which I'm holding right here. You can see all the hydrilla that's been decaying that washed up on the side. All of this plant matter is actually hydrilla that's decaying, along with some leaves. This plant rise to power every summer that I've witnessed, and my passion for biology sparked my interest in further investigating this issue. Let's go check it out.
And if you feel you're sinking, I will jump right over into cold, cold water for you. And all time.
The United States Department of Agriculture has labeled Hydrilla verticillata as a federal noxious weed and invasive species. The U.S. strains originated in Asia and were first introduced to the U.S. in the 1950s as an aquarium plant. It is illegal to transport it between states without a permit. It spreads extremely easily through dispersal of plant fragments, auxiliary turions, and tubers, which remain viable even after being out of the water for days or regurgitated by waterfowl.
I delved into recent history to find out what was really going on. I found an article from March 17, 1985, ironically the holiday most associated with green, like hydrilla, and found out that it was first introduced into the Potomac River in the year 1980 by members of the Ecological Services Laboratory in the hopes of restoring cleanliness to the river. The environmentalists had thought they were planting the native Alodia plant, but accidentally planted Hydrilla verticillata, which soon took over the entire river.
During the fall, hydrilla forms tubers, like an aquatic tulip bulb, to survive the winter. The hydrilla here looks brown because it is covered in mud and has washed ashore, where it is now decaying. I also discovered that the strain of hydrilla found in the Potomac is monoecious, meaning it has both male and female flowers on the same plant, while the strain that was first introduced into America in Florida by accident is dioecious female, with only female flowers. This picture of the lagoon attached to the Potomac River where I sail, which I took on a flight returning home this August, shows just how drastically hydrilla overtakes the river during the summer.
This is interesting because it was such an easy-to-make yet impactful mistake. It's been 36 years since Hydrilla verticillata was first introduced into the Potomac, and it's still yet to be removed. The biggest impact that hydrilla has had in the river is that it has crowded out the native species, such as the Alodia that they were trying to plant in the first place. The green hydrilla takes over every summer, and it blooms in the spring with yellow flowers. Some other consequences of hydrilla overtaking a body of water are that it reduces irrigation, impedes boating, reduces fishing, and harms the whole ecosystem.
Here we can see hydrilla with fall leaves and litter on top. Hydrilla forms dense mats of vegetation which block sunlight from other plants. Studies have shown that the introduction of hydrilla to an ecosystem changes the water chemistry and reduces zooplankton and phytoplankton populations. Scientists have also found lesser weight and size in fish of waters overtaken by hydrilla, and noticed that it can reduce flow in tidal streams to turn the streams into a backwater habitat.
There have been many attempts to try and remove this invasive species from the Potomac. By 1984, hydrilla had taken over much of the Potomac River, and Army Corps engineers wanted to use an herbicide to root it out of the river, or at least minimize it. But officials from Maryland and Virginia denied this request.
The Army Corps of Engineers resorted to other methods to manage hydrilla, using aquatic weed mechanical harvesting machines to mow hydrilla down, like an underwater lawnmower, barrier films to block sunlight and thus reduce photosynthesis, and also diver-operated dredges to suck it up from the riverbed.
An article published by an uncredited author in 1986 discussed a new way that had been found to reduce hydrilla. Scientists had given up on trying to eradicate it because it's so invasive.
and instead focused on trying to manage its populations in bodies of water. Scientists found that when shining overhead light on the reproductive buds of Hydrilla, it reduced reproduction. This was performed on the actual river, and studies showed that it reduced Hydrilla reproduction by 50%. However, it was still ineffective in removing Hydrilla from the river. As we can see, it's still here 36 years later, even during winter when it is not in season. Invasive Hydrilla isn't just a problem in the DC area of the Potomac River. It is also an issue in bodies of water in California, Colorado, Maine, Mississippi, Missouri, and other states. Another example of the intense impact of invasive Hydrilla is in the Croton River in the lower Hudson region of New York, where the issue culminated this past August. The Village Water Control Commission has issued a wetlands activity permit to the New York Department of Environmental Conservation for the plan to release an herbicide to tame the Hydrilla. Hydrilla was first found in this river in October of 2013 and has spread immensely over just the past 3 years, which is minute compared to the 36 years it has inhabited the Potomac. According to the DEC, Hydrilla threatens the ecosystems in the Hudson River and its tributaries. It clogs boat motors, reduces oxygen levels in the water, and chokes and crowds local plants. Just like in the Potomac, the project here is to control and stop the spread of Hydrilla rather than eradicate it, which is just not feasible right now. The issue has caused an uprising of concern about whether dumping in an herbicide would affect the local aquifer. The DEC has said the toxicity of the herbicide, called endothol, would only target Hydrilla and not harm fish, mollusks, or other plants. But people are still skeptical. And it can eradicate Hydrilla, so even advanced herbicides aren't a true solution for this major issue, just a tool to manage it. Here, 2 ducks can be seen sharing their environment with a tangle of Hydrilla with leaves on top. In the same way that scientists' actions of the past have dramatically influenced current situations, modern decisions will impact the future world. A seemingly trivial mistake as introducing the wrong species of underwater weed to a river can have momentous consequences. Society, science, and history are all intertwined like Hydrilla now is with the Potomac. Although it's an ambitious feat, I hope scientists will one day find a way to completely remove Hydrilla from the river and restore the ecosystem to only its native plants. Over the past 36 years that Hydrilla has inhabited the Potomac, biotechnological feats have become realities that were once viewed as impossible, such as better genetic modification using the CRISPR gene editing complex. I hope that I can study biology at Tulane, where I can research complex issues like this one here. I believe further research will allow us to eventually box in Hydrilla completely and keep it from invading ecosystems.